Hi everybody, my name is Nathan and welcome to the Academy on Air. Today I'm going to walk you through a short session of introducing performance video. I work on the Google Global Marketing Solutions team and as part of my job I help our clients to develop a marketing strategy involving video on the emerging markets. In terms of setting expectations for this specific session, I would say that this would be more of a video 101. If you consider yourself a more advanced advertiser partner, I suggest that you come back to us on June 21st when we are going to do a deep dive into video. And that being said, let's look at the agenda for today. So I would start by answering a very important question. Why should you do video? Once we established that YouTube is an amazing opportunity for performance-oriented advertisers, we will look into the new video solutions YouTube has to offer. And afterwards, after preparing you for success, I will also discuss a number of case studies and walk you through the next steps in terms of implementation. So let's get to it. Why you should do video? Think about your last 24 hours. How many times did you go on Google search? If you're like most people, you turn to Google for help making your purchasing decision. Google is where we begin our journey when we might not even have a clear idea of what to buy. Now, people are paying more attention on YouTube. Today's consumers are more curious, demanding, and impatient than ever before. They're very careful with their attention, but that doesn't mean that they can't pay attention. Our latest research actually found that people are 3 times as likely to pay attention to an online video versus a TV ad. And within the scope of video, people pay nearly twice as much attention to video ads on YouTube than they do on other social media platforms. YouTube has the highest viewability on the web, and 95% of ads are watched with sound on. That's a huge amount. More attention also means more results. Not all video platforms were created equal, especially when it comes down to attention. Attention is what makes the viewers on YouTube so valuable for customers and businesses. Globally, when we look at YouTube platform, the conversions generated through that platform are up 100% year over year. Empowered by mobile, consumers are increasingly turning to YouTube in addition to search for help when they're trying to make their purchasing decision. For example, just in the last 2 years, videos on YouTube that contain the word review in the title had more than 50,000 years worth of watch time, and that's on mobile alone. You ask yourself why people turn to video to make a purchasing decision? They do it because video is a great way to explain your product and services, to really demonstrate the capabilities and why your product is so much better compared to your competitors, for example. Traditionally, video has been used as a branding medium. Advertisers will usually turn to video in order to influence customers that are at the top of the funnel. One of the key asks that we have been receiving over the years from advertisers is the ability to target audience on YouTube based on their recent searches. Now we are able to combine the precision of search with the power of video using our new audience targeting capabilities. Custom intent audience. We know that on average 1.5 billion visitors come to YouTube each month to watch video. Now we also know what they have been searching on Google search before coming to YouTube. While custom intent audience with custom intent audience, you have a second chance to win your audience. That ability was previously only available with solutions such as remarketing lists for search ads. But now, you can actually target those audience on YouTube based on their previous searches on Google search. Let's look at that animation. Here we go. Okay, so how do you actually use video to win attention of new customers while also driving performance? In order to answer that question, I would like us to talk about Google's new video solutions that drive performance. And here we go. Okay, so when we talk about video and we want to drive performance, there are three pillars that we should be looking at. First, we want to reach intent-rich audience at scale. Okay? The second one, this audience, we want those audience to capture their attention in a low attention word. And we want them to take action that will drive measurable results. Those are the three pillars: targeting, audibility and viewability, and measurement. Let's look at each of them separately. Let's start with the first one, targeting. Reach the right audience based on their intent. So I have previously mentioned custom intent audience, and I will repeat it one more time. Custom intent audience is a targeting capability on YouTube, which allows us to serve video ads to audience on YouTube based on their recent searches on Google search. So basically, you as the client will input a list of keywords, and we as Google will target those audience on YouTube, given that they have searched for those specific keywords on Google search within the past 7 days. That's a major innovation. It allows you to literally pinpoint the users that have been searching for your products and services. Custom intent audiences are recommended for performance advertisers. And one thing to point out about custom intent audience is that while this solution has been publicly announced, it is still in the beta phase, and that means that it will require a Google wrap to open access for that. So you should contact your account strategist and request that this feature will be available to you at your account. Now, as I mentioned before, we do know that YouTube has more than 1.5 billion users that are logged in and coming to YouTube every single month. Those users are watching more than 1 hour of content per day, and that's on mobile alone. That's huge in terms of reach. We also know that 73% of adults in the US are also connected to YouTube. Now, the thing is that reach is not an issue, right? We can agree on that. YouTube has the reach that we need in order to deliver results. While previously your advertisers could have been satisfied with our ability to reach, say, women between the ages of 18 and 34, this is no longer the case, right? Today, we are required to be able to drill down beyond demographic segmentation. It is not enough to be able to reach women between the ages of 18 to 34, for example. We want to be able to reach those audience that are also beauty experts within that segment of women in the ages of 18 to 34. Now, with the 7 platforms that Google has and over 1 billion unique users a month, we can do that. Reaching those audience become a great marketing challenge for us. As users' behavior has changed over the last years, today we know that more than 60% of YouTube traffic is coming from mobile. That is why YouTube as a platform had to adapt to that change in consumer behavior by innovating its ad serving infrastructure. What we have done is actually enabled a capability that allows us to reach users across devices. The change in infrastructure that we made basically allows us to make signals that were previously unavailable, available. Today, we are able to get signals from Google Maps, from Google Apps, from Google searches, and all of that is being integrated into a much larger picture. For example, we can incorporate signals of users who used Google search to find seasonal offerings, or use map searches to find store close by. Those capabilities actually allowed us to develop new targeting audiences on YouTube. You're all familiar with the affinity and in-market segments, which we have available for display and on YouTube as well. With those new cross-device capabilities, we're actually able to reach 15% more people in affinity and in market. Live events is a new targeting option available for YouTube, and it allows us to reach people that are at major life milestones. For example, people that are getting married or moving, or for example, about to graduate from college. Those options are uniquely available on YouTube. Another audience that we developed through those cross-device measurement capabilities is consumer patterns. Consumer patterns enables advertisers to reach people with regular consumption habits, such as frequent grocery shoppers or restaurant goers. The second pillar which we should be looking at is audibility and viewability. So the second kind of key to make performance video work for your advertisers is to reach intent-rich audience and ensure we capture their attention in low attention word. Let's look at it. Finding the right people at the right time is just the first step, right? Once you have found those people with the highest intent, you also need to capture their attention and make it easy for them to take action. TrueView for Action format has been developed specifically for that purpose. TrueView for Action format is a format of video which incorporates a call to action banner. That banner follows throughout the video and also allows us to add an ad card which will include the unique call to action that we want our advertisers to take. So for example, if you are in the field of hotels, you can use a call to action such as book now. If you provide a specific service, you can encourage people with get a quote call to action. Those kind of calls to action allow us really to funnel through the traffic and help our users to take action. Now, one thing that is worth mentioning, kind of shifting from the online to the offline and talking about some store visits. We are bringing location extension, which you might be familiar with from the search platform, to video ads. Location extension enhances TrueView ads with location information and drives specific actions such as clicks to the advertiser's website and visits to their store. That actually allows businesses to drive foot traffic into their location through video ads. We can also agree that our world is more skippable and sweepable than ever before because users have more choice and more control than ever. If something doesn't hold their attention, they will skip or swipe it after just a few seconds. In the US alone, more than 20% of adults don't pay for TV anymore. 80% of them multitask on another device while watching TV. And the next generation, the next generation grows up in an environment which is entirely skippable. It's by demand. They can skip anything they don't like. Teens watch twice as much YouTube and Netflix as they watch TV. Now, the question we should ask yourself, how do we actually win customers' attention? So, by analyzing more than 500 video ads and considering the context, we came up with 3 insights about what makes a great performance video. It should have a clear offer or call to action. It should be obvious and stated straightforward from the beginning. And you should definitely repeat it a number of times throughout the video. Don't allow your audience to guess. Make it sound and clear for them. What is the action you want them to take? What is your offer? Great videos have a specific offer. They have something which makes the people want to take an action. Make sure that this is the type of video you have. Now, the third pillar I would like us to talk about is measurement. We need to drive measurable behavior in order to be able to optimize our YouTube campaigns. Now, performance formats become especially powerful when you align them to your bidding strategy. To help you maximize your campaign effectiveness, we are bringing cost per acquisition bidding, target CPA, into TrueView campaigns. Target CPA is our automated algorithm which considers more than 70 million variables when determining the bid to ensure that your ad is delivered to the people most likely to convert at your target CPA. Now, what is important to understand about target CPA, that it uses signals that are unique to Google datasets. Those signals are not available through other platforms or through third-party bidders. That's something to keep in mind. Now, we spoke about TrueView for Action as a format, and I spoke about target CPA as a bidding strategy. I would like to emphasize the importance of bringing those two together. You should be using TrueView for Action format as the format with which you want to capture attention and drive action. And you should be using target CPA as the bidding strategy, which will make sure that you're getting the most out of your campaigns and of your budget. Target CPA bidding allows you to set a bid and let machine learning do the rest of the work, while you can focus on the really strategic decisions. Now, let's talk a bit more about measurement. We are committed to giving you greater transparency into your campaign's performance, so you can easily and confidently assess how YouTube impacted your business results. We do know that over 75% of online adults between the ages of 18 and 54 start an activity on one device, but continue or finish that activity on a different device. And that's a challenge, right? Now you can measure actions from people who viewed or clicked your video ad on YouTube mobile app and then converted on their mobile web browser or on a different device. That's very innovative, and I'm going to repeat it again. Now, you can measure activities that started on one platform, say YouTube mobile app, and were done, finished, converted on a different platform, such as a completely different device or a mobile web browser. You may already be familiar with that solution on search and display network, so now we are bringing it to YouTube thanks to our cloud-based measurement platform. Now, I want to repeat, So going one step kind of forward. So the first thing you need to do in order to use YouTube is actually implement AdWords conversion tracking. YouTube can be tracked using AdWords conversion tracking alone, and the reason for that is that Google Analytics is based on views, while the reason for that is that Google Analytics is based on clicks, while YouTube is based on views. So in order to enjoy a comprehensive measurement solution, you should be using AdWords Conversion Pixel. It would allow you to measure cross-device activities. It will also allow you, for example, to measure view-through conversions if you need. And most importantly, it will allow you to measure activities that started on one YouTube platform, for example, the mobile app, and finished on the browser. Now, to bring more shoppers through your doors, businesses need tools to efficiently reach nearby customers and measure their campaign performance across channels. I'm talking about online to offline. So, right, if we want to use a YouTube video, how can we measure if it actually brought more traffic to our shop? Back in 2014, we introduced a similar measurement solution to search, solution that allowed us to measure store visits that were generated by search ads. Today, we are also introducing that solution to YouTube. Hundreds of millions of users have opted into sharing their location when they signed into Google, so that they can take advantage of products such as Google Now and rely on location data to get specific offerings. Using those signals, we can generate anonymous aggregated statistics information about how many users actually visited your shop based on a video ad that they saw. Now, I would like to quickly summarize the three pillars we previously spoke about. The three pillars necessary in order to make a video work for your advertiser in terms of performance are: 1, targeting; 2, audibility and viewability; and 3, measurement. Those are the three pillars, and we will elaborate more on them in our next session. Now, I want us to take a quick look at a case study by Betterment. Betterment is a global investment firm which decided to implement or integrate custom intent solution, custom intent audience on their YouTube platform. Their goal was to get new customers to sign up and make an investment deposit. That was their goal. So sorry, just to repeat that. So their goal was actually to generate more sign-ups and more deposits into the firm. The results of the implementation of the custom intent audience on YouTube were a 25% lower cost per click than their historical non-branded campaigns. They also achieved 245% uplift in their brand searches. And to top those two up, they were able to get 600% higher return on an ad spend. That's enormous. Now, we spoke about video. Why video? We spoke about the new targeting options that YouTube has to offer. We also spoke about the pillar stones to implementing video as a performance solution. What should be your next steps before our next session? The first one would be to set up an AdWords conversion tracking pixel. Make sure that you set an AdWords conversion tracking pixel, because at the moment, this is the most comprehensive solution which will allow you to measure the performance of your YouTube campaigns. The second one, start preparing assets. If you have an account manager, contact him and discuss the assets you want and discuss this strategy with him. Look at the different options that you have, whether it's a bumper, whether it's a TrueView for action video, which lasts 30 seconds or 1 minute. You should discuss those things and consider as the next step. Now, our next session is going to be on June 21st, and that session is going to be a deep dive into performance and implementation, as well as best practices. We'll talk about how to successfully implement TrueView for action campaigns, when to use target CPA, what other targeting bidding options are available, and how should you structure your account in the best way in order to receive performance. And now I would be happy to take some Q&A, some questions from our audience. Okay, so the first question is, how is custom intent audience different from affinity or in-market audience? That's an excellent question. So, custom intent audience allows us to target users on YouTube with video ads based on their previous searches on Google search. So, for example, if someone searched for a specific, for a Mexican restaurant, we can target him with our video presenting our Mexican restaurant on YouTube based on his search on Google search. Affinity audience and in-market audience use different signals and they are generated differently. So to sum this up, custom intent audience basically allows us to target users based on their searches on Google search within the last 7 days, specific queries that they searched for. The next question, I can't really see that. Okay. Let me look. Okay, so the next question is how to set up conversion pixel. So there are a few ways to do that. If you have an account manager, you can contact your account manager and request his assistance in setting an implementation kind of consultation with you to help you implement a AdWords conversion pixel. If you don't, you can also do it yourself. There is a conversion kind of tab within your AdWords account through which you can generate a new AdWords conversion pixel and implement that. What's important to point out is that your YouTube campaigns should have a separate conversion pixel only for them. So if you're already using a pixel to track conversions from your search and display, your YouTube campaign should use a separate conversion pixel. We will also discuss it more in details in our next session, but generally speaking, YouTube should have a separate AdWords conversion pixel and your search and display should have a different one. How to track offline conversions? That's a great question as well. So at the moment, if we are talking about offline conversions which are being manually uploaded or uploaded using an API, that's not something that target CPA bidding can optimize for. We hope that in the future it will be able to. Is there any new ad format? Earlier I got one YouTube ad for 2.22 minutes that was not skippable. I'm not sure how to answer that question. It's not clear enough for me. Sorry about that. Okay, that's a great question. How we choose which search terms we want to target? That's a great question. I'm not sure who asked that, but I'm actually going to elaborate on that. So say you already have a number of successful search campaigns that are working well and driving conversions. And now you have decided to implement YouTube solutions, TrueView for action, in order to drive additional conversions. And you are using custom intent audience in order to do that. So how do we actually choose the keywords we want to target? I would recommend having at least 2 separate campaigns. One of those campaigns should be targeting your brand keywords on video, on YouTube. That would allow you a second chance to reach out to audience which have been looking for your brand, but might have not converted. The second campaign should focus on generic keywords. The generic keywords is very easy to choose. You go to your search campaigns and you look at the best performing keywords. The best performing keywords from your search campaigns should be divided into ad groups on our generic custom intent campaign on YouTube. And in such way, you begin by targeting keywords which are your best performing keywords on search, and that would deliver you additional additional value on YouTube. Later on, you can try to expand those keywords into additional keywords. Another campaign which you can consider in terms of custom intent is search terms that might be too expensive for you to bid on search. Sometimes the smaller advertisers, or even the medium and sometimes even the large advertisers, will not be able to bid on certain search terms on search simply because the cost is too expensive, or the CPA on those terms is too high. You can try those keywords as well. I will suggest to separate it into a different campaign. So just to sum up this question for those who joined now or haven't been following up, the question is how we choose which search terms we want to target. You should have 3 custom intent campaigns on your YouTube account. One of those campaigns should target your brand keywords. If you want to go one step farther, and I will elaborate on that in our next session, you should have the all converters on exclude, so that you target with your brand search terms only new users that only users that haven't converted. The second campaign should be your best performing search terms from search. And the third campaign should be search terms which are too expensive for you to bid on search. Would you be able to tell us more about cross-platform tracking? Okay, so basically the cross-platform tracking is something that happens at the back end, and it is being and we are able to do that based on our cloud platform. I will not be able to elaborate more on that, unfortunately. Let me see if I haven't missed any questions. Yeah, I think that's it for today. And once again, join us on June 21st. That was a video 101 session. Next, on June 21st, we will go into a deep dive and discuss more in details how to optimize an account, how to structure it correctly, and how to bid and what to bid for.